Alright, so good to be back. In today's video, we're going to look at colors in Pygame. And before we do that, let's play this and see where we left off. We created a game surface which we can run and we can also close. We also have control in terms of the rate at which this is going to run, which is our FPS over here. And so that's what we've done so far. Before I get into colors, there's something I need to say. If you are following my tutorials, I encourage you to code along with me. If you feel like it's fast, you can slow it down, but the most important thing is try and do something, because programming is a practical subject. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's look at colors. So there are so many ways of representing colors in Pygame. So the first one is using the actual name of the color. So I'm going to create a variable here, color1, and I'm going to give it the actual name. So I'm going to call it red. And if I save this, of course, if I try and run this, there is no way we can see a red color over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this background of our surface over here. We're going to apply a background color. So to apply a background color, we have to target the display surface. Okay, so we created our display surface using this set mode function, and so we have to copy all this, Control C or Command C. I'm going to paste this, Command V or Control V, and right at the end there where the cursor is, I'm going to put a dot, and it gives me access to a number of methods that are available to this surface. Of course, this is a surface, this is a display surface. The method that we're looking for is this fill method. So this method allows us to apply a background color. And so I'm going to put parentheses over here, and inside there, this is where we're going to specify the color. And so we're going to say color1. And since we have a variable here, we assigned it a color of red. And so this is going to be red. Okay, so having done this, if I set this and run this, still there's nothing, no change. I'm going to close this. So we need to apply one more step. So inside our game loop in here, we have to call the Pygame.display again, and then we have to apply another method, which is called the update method. We are asking the display to update after having applied the background color. So now we are asking it, can you please update? And so each time you do something to the surface, you have to call this method, to ask it to update. And so I'm going to save this and run this. Now you can see now we have a red background. However, you can also use a different method over here, which is called flip. Okay, so the difference between update and flip is going to flip everything. It's going to update the whole screen. However, with update, you can decide to update certain portions of your display surface if you so wish to do so. Let me save this and try and run it so that you guys can see that it actually works. Here it does. Let me just keep flip over here. Don't mind about anything else, but you can use update or flip over here. That's the whole point. This is the first way we can use colors, and then the second way that we can use colors, color 2. We're going to use what we call a tuple. So a tuple is going to have 3 values in there: R, G, and B. R represent red, G green, and B for blue. And so we're going to pass in values. These are going to be numbers between 0 and 255 inclusive. 0 is going to be no color, and 255 is going to be the full intensity of that color. And so here on the red, I'm going to pass in 0. Of course, we want this to be green, and so I'm going to say 255. And blue, I'm going to pass in a 0. No color of red, 255 of green, 0 of blue. And so let's see what happens. So I'm going to save, if I save this, obviously I have to change the fill here. So I'm going to pass in color 2. So instead of color 1, we're going to say color 2. Save that and run this. We can see now the color is green because we specified it over here. Okay, the third way, I'm going to call it color 3. Is by using the color module in Pygame. And so I'm going to take you to the documentation. You have the color module here. This is the first one. And so you have to call Pygame.color. See, the color is capitalized, and so that's what we have to do. And so here we're going to say Pygame.color. parentheses, and in there we can pass in RGB value, we can pass in the actual name of the color, or we can pass in a hexadecimal value. And so what I'm going to do is, I haven't used the hexadecimal value. I've used the actual color here. I've used an RGB value here. I haven't used an hexadecimal value. So I'm going to use a hexadecimal. Hexadecimal means base 16. And so for those who don't understand hexadecimal, these are values from 0 up to F, like that. So it's 0 up to F. So we're going to have numbers from 0 to 9, the number that you're used to. And then from 10, we're going to have A, and then B, C, D, E, F. So this is going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These letters are also part of the symbols that represent hexadecimal values. And so 0 means no color, and F means the highest intensity of that color. And so colors in hexadecimal, they're represented this way. So you're going to put a hash, RR, GG, and then BB, like that. 00 for red, 00 for green, and then FF for blue. So we have F here, which is the highest, 0 the lowest. Okay, so I'm going to do away with this line and save this. Obviously down here we have to change this to color 3 so that we can see. So what color is it? RR, GG, BB. So blue is the color that we are representing over here. So if I run this, you can see we have a blue color over here. Okay, so yeah, this is basically how you represent colors in Pygame. All right, so one more thing is, obviously here you can pass in the actual value. You could pass in red. Instead of passing all this, I could pass in that hexadecimal. I could say quotation marks, hash, 0000 and FF. I could save this and run. And still I'm going to have a blue color over here. I could pass in the actual value, but using variables is more convenient. Okay, so it's way better to use variables than to pass in actual values. Let me say color 3 over here. And so instead of having this like this, we could assign this to a variable and here use a variable. So here on display, I'm going to call this a game underscore screen. You can name it whatever. You can call it a window or a screen or whatever you want, but I prefer to call it a game screen. So instead of writing all this, we could then replace this with game screen like that. And then we say game screen.fill. So these are how convenient variables are. Instead of writing all this stuff, you could just write it like this, because this value has been assigned to this name. So if I save this and run this, oh, you can see it still works the same way. Okay, so I hope it makes a whole lot of sense. If you have any questions, remember to leave them in the comment section. I appreciate your support. If you haven't followed the channel, remember to do so. Yeah, so this is how you can work with colors. Don't be afraid to try out stuff. Just go ahead and experiment with all this. That is the best way you can learn. So I'll see you in our next tutorial. For now, I'm out. Bye bye.